In the flickering candlelight of a royal bedchamber, Queen Akosua of Ashanti takes her final labored breaths. Her weathered hand grips her trusted advisor's arm with surprising strength as she whispers words that will shatter everything he thought he knew. "The princess is not my daughter. Find the real heir before it's too late." And with those words, she's gone. But the secret she's carried for 18 long years, that's just the beginning of a story so incredible you won't believe where it leads. What if I told you that everything you are about to hear actually happened? That somewhere in the ancient Kingdom of Ashanti, two girls lived completely different lives, never knowing they held the key to each other's true identity? Before we dive in, let me ask you something. If you discover tomorrow that your entire life was a lie, that you weren't who you thought you were, what would you do? Keep that question in mind as we uncover the truth about the princess who wasn't a princess and the peasant who was destined for a crown. For 18 years, Princess Adwoa has lived a life of absolute luxury in the royal palace of Ashanti. Golden silk drapes frame her bedroom windows. Servants attend to her every need. The finest tutors in the kingdom have shaped her mind for rulership. But here's what's fascinating about Adwoa. She's not just your typical sport princess. She's brilliant, dangerously intelligent when it comes to court politics. She can navigate palace intrigue like a master chess player, always thinking 3 moves ahead. But there's something missing. When she looks out from her ivory tower at the common people below, she sees numbers, not faces, statistics, not stories. She understands power, but she's never truly understood people. Now, you might be thinking, typical rich princess, right? But hold on, because Princess Adwoa has something that will completely change how you see this story. Behind her left ear, hidden by her elaborate hairstyles, lies a crescent moon birthmark. Remember that detail. It's going to be crucial. 3 miles from the palace, in a village where the roads are dust and dreams seem impossible, lives a girl named Ama. Every morning before dawn, you'll find her in her father's blacksmith shop, pumping the bellows with arms that have grown strong from years of hard work. Her hands are calloused, her clothes are simple, and she's never owned anything made of silk in her entire life. But here's what's extraordinary about Ama. Watch her for just 5 minutes and you'll see something magical happen. When the village children are hungry, somehow food appears. When neighbors argue, they find themselves sitting around Ama's fire, talking through their problems. When the tax collectors come demanding more than the village can pay, it's Ama who stands up and negotiates a fairer deal. People follow her without her even asking them to. She has this rare gift, the ability to see straight into someone's heart and speak to their better nature. And just like Princess Adwoa, behind her left ear, hidden beneath her simple braids, lies an identical crescent moon birthmark. 2 girls, same birthday, same mark, completely different worlds. What are the odds of that being a coincidence? Let me take you back to one stormy night 18 years ago when 2 babies entered the world and a desperate decision changed the course of history. Queen Akosua had just given birth, but something was terribly wrong. The royal baby was weak, struggling to breathe, and the court physicians whispered that she might not survive the night. In the village below, another drama was unfolding. The blacksmith's wife had also given birth, but tragedy struck. She died from complications, leaving behind a healthy crying baby girl and a heartbroken father. Now, here's where this story takes a turn that will make you question everything you think you know about right and wrong. The royal midwife, a woman named Nana Adwoa, saw an opportunity in this double tragedy. She made a proposal that was both brilliant and terrible. "Your Majesty, what if we could save both babies?" Her plan was shocking in its simplicity. Take the healthy village baby and raise her as the princess. Give the sickly royal baby to the grieving father, telling him his child had died and this was an orphaned baby in need of care. The storm raged outside as she made her decision, and for 18 years, that secret ate away at her soul like poison. Meet Kofi, royal advisor, keeper of secrets, and now the only person alive who knows the truth that could destroy a kingdom. Imagine being in his position. The kingdom needs a ruler. Princess Adwoa is preparing for her coronation ceremony. The nobles are planning celebrations, and you're standing there knowing that everything is built on a lie. But here's Kofi's dilemma. Even if he tells the truth, who would believe him? And more importantly, what would happen to the kingdom if he did? So Kofi makes a choice that will set everything in motion. He decides to investigate quietly, to find proof before he acts. But in a royal court where information is currency and everyone is watching everyone else, keeping secrets is about as easy as hiding a fire in a straw hut. Every great story needs a villain, and Prince Kwaku is perfect for the role. Queen Akosua's younger brother has spent his entire life watching from the sidelines, believing he should have been king instead of his sister. He's ambitious, ruthless, and has been waiting decades for his moment. So think about it from his perspective. If both potential heirs are illegitimate or fighting each other, who's left to claim the throne? The queen's only living relative, him. And Kwaku is not the type of man to let a little thing like murder stand in his way. Kofi knows he needs to find the real princess, but where do you start looking for a needle in a haystack? How do you identify someone who doesn't even know who they really are? He starts with the records. Birth records from 18 years ago, but most village births weren't officially recorded back then. Dead end. Then he remembers something, the birthmark. If the switched baby truly was royal blood, she might have inherited the family's distinctive crescent moon mark. So Kofi does something unprecedented. He leaves the safety of the palace and ventures into the villages, ostensibly to collect taxes and check on the kingdom's people, but really searching for a girl with royal blood running through her veins. It's in the third village that Kofi's life changes forever. He's watching from the shadows as the villagers gather to discuss the latest tax demands that are crushing these people who barely have enough to eat. The village elder is wringing his hands, saying there's nothing they can do, when a young woman steps forward. There's always something we can do, and her voice carries an authority that stops everyone in their tracks. This is Ama, though Kofi doesn't know her name yet. What he sees is a girl barely 18 years old commanding the respect of people twice their age. She's organizing them, giving them hope, showing them how to negotiate as a united front rather than as individuals. And when she turns her head just right, when her braid shifts in the wind, Kofi sees it, the crescent moon birthmark behind her left ear. His hands shake as the truth hits him like a physical blow. This village girl, this blacksmith's daughter, who's never set foot in a palace, is speaking with the natural authority of someone born to rule. He's found her. He's found the real princess.
But how do you walk up to someone and say, "Excuse me, I know this sounds crazy, but you are actually the rightful queen of this entire kingdom"? Kofi tries the direct approach. He tells Ama about the queen's confession, about the switched babies, about her true heritage. And Ama's response? She laughs. Not just a chuckle, a full hearty laugh that brings tears to her eyes. "Me? A princess?" she says, gesturing to her soot-stained apron and callous hands. "Sir, I think the sun has gotten to you." But Kofi is persistent, and slowly, carefully, he begins to plant seeds of doubt in Ama's mind. The birthmark she's always wondered about, the way animals seem to drawn to her, the fact that she's never felt quite at home in her simple life, always dreaming of something bigger. And as those seeds begin to grow miles away in the royal palace, Princess Adwoa is preparing for a coronation that might crown the wrong person as queen. But before we see what happens when these two worlds collide, let me ask you something. What do you think is going to happen when Princess Adwoa and Ama finally meet face to face? And more importantly, what if everything we think we know about this story is still just the beginning of an even bigger secret? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because trust me, you're not ready for what's coming next. And if you're enjoying this story as much as I am telling it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because the twists we've seen so far, they are nothing compared to what's waiting in Act 3. So far, we've discovered that Princess Adwoa isn't really a princess, and Ama the blacksmith's daughter might actually be royalty. But what happens when these two worlds are about to crash into each other? Kofi knows he can't just march Ama into the throne room and announce she's the real princess. That's a sure way to start a civil war. So he devises a clever plan. He'll bring Ama to the palace as a servant recruit. Picture this. Ama, who's never seen a building taller than 2 stories, walking through palace gates that reach toward the heavens. Golden spires, marble columns, gardens more beautiful than anything she's ever imagined. But here's what's fascinating. While other village girls might be intimidated, Ama walks through those palace halls like she belongs there. There's something in her stride, something in the way she carries herself that makes even the veteran palace guards take notice. Now here's the scene that will give you chills. Princess Adwoa is holding court in the Great Hall, practicing for her upcoming coronation. She's addressing a group of minor nobles, every inch the perfect future queen, poised, articulate, commanding. Then the doors open. Kofi enters with a group of new servants recruits, and among them is Ama. The moment, and I mean the exact moment, Princess Adwoa's eyes lands on Ama, the words die in her throat. The entire court falls silent, because what they're seeing is impossible. It's like looking into a mirror across a room. Same height, same facial structure, same eyes. They could be twins separated at birth, which, as we're about to discover, isn't far from the truth. Adwoa's hand flies to her throat. Ama freezes in the doorway, and every person in that room is thinking the same thing. What in the name of the ancestors is going on here? Kofi realizes he's got a problem. He expected to investigate quietly, but now half the court has seen the resemblance. Whispers are already spreading through the palace like wildfire. So he does the only thing he can. He accelerates his plan. First, the ancient crown tests. Legend says the original crown of the Ashanti will only fit the head of the true heir. It's been passed down for generations, and supposedly it has never failed. Kofi arranges for both girls to try it on privately. Princess Adwoa goes first. The crown fits perfectly, just as it has always had. But then, Ama tries it too. Perfectly. Kofi stares in disbelief. According to legend, this should be impossible. Next, Kofi devises a test of true leadership. He disguises both girls as common citizens and sends them into the marketplace to see how people react to them naturally. Princess Adwoa approaches a group arguing over food prices. She offers logical solutions, speaks with authority, but something is missing. The people listen respectfully, but there's no spark, there's no connection. Then, Ama approaches the same group. She doesn't lecture them, she listens first. She asks about their families, their struggles, and within minutes, she's got them working together, sharing resources, finding solutions they never considered. The people don't just listen to Ama, they light up around her. It's like she awakens something in their hearts. The final test is the most dangerous. There's an ancient royal talisman that supposedly responds only to the blood of the true queen's lineage. It's been dormant for decades, but legend says it will glow when touched by royal blood. The moment Princess Adwoa places her hand on the ancient stone, for a moment, nothing happens. Then, slowly, a warm golden light begins to emanate from within. But when Ama touches it, the entire talisman erupts in brilliant light, so bright that everyone in the room has to shield their eyes. Now, Kofi is more confused than ever before. How can both girls activate royal magic? How can both girls pass every test? Unless... But before he can piece together the truth, danger strikes. Remember Prince Kwaku? He's been watching this test from the shadows and he's reached a terrifying conclusion. Whether it's Adwoa or Ama, both girls represent threats to his ambitions. His solution? Eliminate both of them. Kwaku arranges a hunting expedition, a common royal activity that would provide perfect cover for an accident. Both girls are invited, Adwoa as the princess and Ama as her new personal attendant. The morning starts beautifully. Horses, hounds, the thrill of the chase through ancient forests. But Kwaku has positioned his men throughout the woods and his plan is already in motion. The attack starts with arrows whistling through the trees, but not aimed at animals. Princess Adwoa's horse races as an arrow barely misses her head. Ama shouts a warning as unmasked attackers emerge from the underbrush. And here's where we see who these girls really are under pressure. Adwoa immediately starts strategizing, looking for escape routes, analyzing the attackers' positions, thinking like a military commander. Ama jumps into action, grabbing a falling branch as a weapon, putting herself between the attackers and injured guards, fighting with the fierce protective instinct of someone defending her family. And for the first time in their lives, these two girls, princess and peasant, raised in luxury and hardship, have to depend on each other to survive. And as they fight back to back against Kwaku's assassins, something remarkable happens. They start moving in sync, anticipating each other's actions, covering each other's weaknesses. It's like they've been partners their entire lives. Somehow, working together, Adwoa and Ama manage to escape the ambush, but they are lost in the deep forest, injured and unsure who they can trust back at the palace. As they tend to each other's wounds around a small fire, they finally have their first real conversation. "You fight like you were trained by the royal guard," Adwoa says, wincing as Ama bandages a cut on her arm. "You think like you grew up planning battles," Ama replies, "but you've also got gentle hands, like you've cared for people before." They talk through the night, sharing stories of their lives, and the more they talk, the more they realize how strange their similarities are. Both have always felt slightly out of place in their worlds. Both have had the same recurring dream about a woman singing a lullaby they've never heard before. Both have birthmarks their parents could never explain. What if, Ama says quietly, what if we're both exactly where we're supposed to be and exactly where we don't belong? Just as the girls return to the palace, a commotion erupts at the gate. An old man is collapsing, demanding to see the princess before he dies. It's Ama's father, the blacksmith. With his final breaths, surrounded by Ama, Adwoa, and Kofi, the blacksmith makes a confession that changes everything we thought we knew about this story.
18 years ago, he whispers, the royal midwife brought me a baby. She said my daughter had died and this was an orphaned child who needed care. Ama nods. This matches what Kofi told her about the switch. But the blacksmith continues, his voice growing weaker. I lied to everyone, including myself, for 18 years. The room falls dead silent. My wife didn't die giving birth to one baby. She died giving birth to twins. The words hit like lightning. Adwoa gasps. Ama's knees buckle. Kofi's face goes white. The blacksmith continues. The midwife didn't switch one baby. She took one of my twins to replace the sickly princess. But what she didn't know, what no one knew, was that my wife had been the queen's secret servant years before. She had been more than a servant. Both of my twins, both of you girls, you were already royal. You were already sisters. Queen Akosua, she gave birth to twins 18 years ago, but announced only one birth to prevent succession disputes. The dying blacksmith looks at both girls with tears in his eyes. I raised one princess while the other lived in the palace. You were never switched, Ama. you were sent home. And Adwoa, you were never a false heir. You were both always exactly who you were meant to be. As the pieces fall into place, the most shocking truth emerges. Queen Akosua's deathbed confession wasn't a confession at all. It was the final step in an 18-year plan. The queen had deliberately separated her twin daughters, not to deceive the kingdom, but to prepare them both for rule. One would grow up with royal training, political acumen, and strategic thinking. The other would grow up with genuine empathy, natural leadership, and a connection to the common people. Her dying confession was designed to bring them back together, to force them to discover their bond and learn to work as a team. The queen had spent 18 years slowly dying from the pain of separation, all to give her daughters and her kingdom the perfect rulers. Two halves of the same whole, two sides of the same crown. But here's the problem. Even though the truth is finally revealed, Prince Kwaku isn't giving up. In fact, now that he knows both girls are legitimate heirs, he's more dangerous than ever. Because if he can't inherit the throne legally, he's prepared to take it by force. The coronation is tomorrow. 2 princesses, 1 crown, and an uncle who will stop at nothing to claim both their lives and their kingdom. What happens next will determine not just who rules Ashanti, but whether there's a kingdom left to rule at all. You're not going to want to miss how this ends. If you're as hooked on this story as I am, smash that subscribe button because the finale is going to blow your mind. And drop a comment. Do you think the twin sisters can really rule together, or is this heading for tragedy? So here we are, 2 twin princesses, both legitimate heirs, both destined to rule. But ancient law is crystal clear. Only one person can wear the crown. The firstborn rules. But here's the problem nobody anticipated. In all the chaos 18 years ago, no one recorded who was born first. The coronation is set for dawn. The entire kingdom has gathered. Foreign dignitaries have traveled from distant lands, and the royal court is buzzing with a question no one knows how to answer. Which twin becomes queen? The elders' wisdom. The kingdom's council of elders, ancient advisors who've guided Ashanti through countless crises, proposed something unprecedented: a trial by leadership. Each princess will rule for 30 days. At the end, the people will choose their permanent queen. Princess Adwoa accepts immediately. She's been training for this her whole life. Ama hesitates. 30 days to prove I deserve something I never asked for, to compete against my own sister? But the kingdom needs an answer, and this seems like the only fair way. What happens next will surprise you, because it reveals not just who these sisters really are, but what true leadership actually looks like. Princess Adwoa takes the throne first, and immediately, her royal training shines through. Within a week, she's negotiated 3 new trade agreements that will bring wealth to the kingdom. She reorganizes the military, making the borders more secure than they've been in decades. She establishes diplomatic relations with neighboring kingdoms that had been called to Ashanti for years. When rival kingdoms test her with complex political challenges, Adwoa outmaneuvers them like a chess grandmaster. She's brilliant, strategic, and undeniably effective. But there's something missing. When a drought hits the farming regions, Adwoa responds with logic and efficiency. She redistributes grain stores, calculates optimal rationing, and implements water conservation measures. Her solutions are mathematically perfect, but when the farmers come to the palace, desperate and afraid, she struggles to connect with their fear. She offers facts when they need comfort, strategy when they need hope. One evening, Ama finds her just standing on the palace balcony, staring out at the kingdom with tears in her eyes. "I can protect them," she whispers. "I can make the kingdom stronger, wealthier, safer, but I don't know how to make them feel heard." When Ama takes the throne, everything changes. Her first act, she moves her throne from the formal audience chamber to the palace courtyard, under the open sky, where anyone can approach. The same farmers who felt dismissed during Adwoa's reign find themselves sitting around Ama's fire, sharing their stories. She doesn't just hear their problems, she feels them. And somehow, that makes all the difference. When she implements aid programs, they're not just efficient, they're personal. She remembers names, asks about families,
celebrate small victories alongside her people. But here's what's remarkable. Ama's empathy doesn't make her weak. When neighboring kingdoms tried to take advantage of what they assumed is a soft new queen, they discovered that someone who truly loves her people will fight harder for them than any trained warrior. But Ama makes mistakes that Adwoa would never make. She trusts the wrong diplomat and nearly loses a crucial alliance. She is too generous with the royal treasury and almost creates a financial crisis. One night, she confesses to Adwoa, "I can make them feel hope, give them someone who truly sees them, but I'm scared I'll ruin everything through inexperience." As the 60 days draw to a close, something beautiful happens. Instead of growing more competitive, the twin sisters grow closer. Adwoa starts asking Ama for advice on connecting with people. Ama starts learning political strategy from Adwoa. They begin meeting every evening, sharing the challenges of their respective months. It's Adwoa who first speaks the thought they've both been having. "What if we're asking the wrong question?" "What do you mean?" Ama asks. "Everyone's asking which one of us should be queen. But what if the real question is, why does it have to be just one?" But Prince Kwaku has been using these 60 days to gather his own power. He's convinced the faction of nobles that joint rule would be chaos, that the kingdom needs a strong male hand to guide it. On the morning of the final decision, as the kingdom gathers for the announcement, Kwaku makes his move. His soldiers surround the palace, his supporters storm the great hall, and he stands before the assembled crowd with a sword at both sisters' throats. "Citizens of Ashanti," he declares, "these girls have brought nothing but confusion and chaos to our kingdom. I claim the throne by right of strength." But here's where Kwaku makes a fatal miscalculation. He assumes the people will accept his coup out of fear. Instead, something unprecedented happens.
Turning point. Princess Adwoa looks out at the crowd and sees the nobles, the foreign dignitaries, the political players. She speaks to them with the strategic brilliance she's honed her entire life. "Citizens, Lord Kwaku offers you the rule of fear, but we've shown you something different. We've shown you that strength comes not from domination, but from service." Then, Ama stands and she speaks to the farmers, the craftspeople, the common folk. "My people, you know my heart. You know I would die before I let harm come to any of you. But my sister is right. We are stronger together than apart." And then, in perfect synchronization, both sisters speak together. "We propose not competition, but collaboration. Not one queen, but two leaders working as one." The response is immediate and overwhelming. The crowd erupts not in confusion, but in celebration. Because for 60 days, they've seen what these sisters can accomplish apart. Now, they want to see what they can do together. Kwaku's own soldiers begin lowering their weapons. His noble supporters start backing away. Because you can't fight an entire kingdom when that kingdom has found its voice. The ceremony. What follows is the most unusual coronation in the history of any kingdom. Two thrones are brought forward, not one large and one small, but two identical seats placed side by side. Two crowns are crafted, not copies of the ancient crown, but complementary pieces that form a complete whole when placed together. And when the sisters take their oath of rulership, they do something that makes the crowd gasp. They speak in unison, but each adds their own words. "I, Adwoa, swear to protect this kingdom with wisdom and strategy. I, Ama, swear to serve this kingdom with compassion and justice. Together, we pledge to rule not as one mind, but as one heart with two voices." But the biggest surprise comes in the form of a letter, sealed and left to be opened only after the coronation. It's from Queen Akosua, written years before her death. Reading the letter. "My beloved daughters, if you are reading this, then my plan has succeeded beyond my wildest dreams. I did not separate you by accident. I did not confess the truth on my deathbed out of guilt. I separated you because I knew that no single person, no matter how wise or kind or strong, could be everything a kingdom needs. I trained one of you in the palace,
because kingdoms need strategic minds who understand power. I sent the other to live among the people because kingdoms need leaders who understand hearts. My confession was not my dying breath. It was my greatest gift to you and to our people. You are not two halves of one queen. You are two complete queens who together can build something greater than any single ruler ever could. Emotional climax. As the letter is read aloud, there isn't a dry eye in the kingdom. The crowd realizes they've witnessed not just a coronation, but the culmination of an 18-year masterpiece of leadership development. Resolution. Under the rule of the twin queens, Ashanti flourishes like never before. Princess Adwoa handles foreign relations, military strategy, and economic policy with brilliant precision. Queen Ama oversees domestic affairs, justice, and social programs with unmatched empathy. But here's the beautiful part. They don't divide responsibilities like bureaucrats. They collaborate on everything, each bringing their strengths to every decision. Examples of success. When neighboring kingdoms threaten war, Adwoa's strategic mind plans the defense, while Ama's diplomatic heart finds ways to turn enemies into allies. When natural disasters strike, Ama's immediate compassion organizes relief efforts, while Adwoa's long-term thinking rebuilds stronger than before. The kingdom's response. The people don't just accept this unusual arrangement, they love it. For the first time in their history, they have leaders who both understand their struggles and can effectively address them. Closing imagery. The story ends 5 years later, with the twin queens standing on the same palace balcony where their mother once stood. But they are not alone. The courtyard below is filled with people, not subjects keeping their distance, but citizens who've come to share their evening meal with their queens. Character growth. Adwoa has learned to laugh with children and comfort the grieving. Ama has learned to negotiate with foreign diplomats and plan military campaigns. But more importantly, they've learned that the greatest strength isn't in being perfect, it's in knowing when to lean on someone who complements your weaknesses. And in the distance, other kingdoms are beginning to whisper about this strange new model of leadership. Some are even wondering, what if they could find their own pairs of complementary leaders? What if the future of governance isn't about finding the perfect single ruler, but about finding perfect partnerships? Final emotional beat. As the sisters watch their people below, Ama turns to Adwoa and says, "Do you think Mother knew it would work this well?" Adwoa smiles. "I think Mother knew something we're still learning, that the strongest kingdoms aren't built on the power of one, but on the love shared by many." The end. And as the sun sets over the Kingdom of Ashanti, two sisters who were separated as babies, raised in different worlds and nearly lost each other to deception and ambition, rule together as living proof that sometimes the most beautiful stories are the ones that teach us we are stronger together than apart. Engagement wrap-up. And that's the incredible true story of the Queen's secret heir, or should I say heirs? Reflection question. What do you think? Could this model of shared leadership actually work in our modern world? Are there areas in your own life where you could be stronger by partnering with someone whose strength complements your weaknesses? Final call to action. If this story moved you the way it moved me, please share it with someone who needs to hear about the power of collaboration over competition. Hit that subscribe button for more incredible true stories and let me know in the comments, what's the most important partnership in your own life? Because at the end of the day, the greatest leaders aren't the ones who do everything perfectly. They're the ones who know how to bring out the best in others. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the Kingdom of Ashanti. Until next time, remember, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be willing to grow.